Hello, everybody, and welcome to Youth Service America's Youth Service Month Partner Days of Service webinar. My name is Michael Minks, and I am the Vice President of Partnerships here at YSA. We have a jam-packed agenda today with tons of speakers sharing information about different days or weeks or months of service that happen in April and May. So let's go ahead and get started with a quick introduction to Youth Service America. We really work to make working together for the common good, the common expectation, and the common experience of every young person growing up in America. We do that through several key strategies. Our primary program strategy is organizing around National Days of Service, Global Youth Service Day and Youth Service Month in the spring, 9/11 Day of Service in the fall, and MLK Day of Service in the winter. So we have a kind of a beginning of the school year, middle of the school year, end of the school year event to really organize around community-based activities. And we offer lots of different grants to organizations and to youth project leaders around those days of service. We have several education and training programs really to help our partners and grantees increase the quality of their service and service learning programs. And our newest strategy is a state-based youth service alliance strategy to really focus on capacity building and systems change to help us found a new era of youth service in America. Youth Service Month starts 1 month exactly from today on April 11th and goes through May 11th. It really started as a kind of COVID era experiment to provide flexibility for people who maybe couldn't plan around the specific weekend that Global Youth Service Day is and wanted that flexibility. And then we decided to really make that official going forward for a couple of key reasons. The first is that we know spring is just a busy, busy time. There are lots of things going on, especially for kids. State testing in a lot of states, college graduations, even some high school graduations in some states, proms, spring sports tournaments, all kinds of things. And people have always asked us for that flexibility when they couldn't schedule exactly on Global Youth Service Day weekend. So we really wanted to broaden that out. So Youth Service Month starts 2 Fridays before Global Youth Service Day weekend, ends 2 Sundays after Global Youth Service Day weekend. So people really have 5 full weekends, 4 full weeks to plan activities. And the other key reason why we really wanted to expand Global Youth Service Day into a full month is that we've always partnered with and promoted a couple of dozen different service-related events that happen throughout April and early May, and really encouraged people to think about how they can celebrate multiple events with a single activity or a single project. Really telling people that you don't have to plan a Global Youth Service Day event and a different project, for these other days, that you can really bring them together and celebrate, 2 or more events with a single activity or project. And we really wanted to formalize that as well. So that gives us a full month that includes all of these days that you'll hear from today and several others who weren't able to join us. So we have a jam-packed agenda with a ton of speakers who will share about their different days of service, how to get involved, what planning tools and resources are available. And so we'll jump into that. We will share the recording and notes and links to all the websites and resources that people share afterwards. We'll get that out to everyone by the end of the week. And unfortunately, because we have so many speakers, we don't have time to do Q&A kind of live while people are speaking. So if you do have questions, just drop them into the chat, and then presenters just check the chat after you're done speaking and see if people had any questions for you, and just drop your answers into the chat, and then we'll collect that and add kind of frequently asked questions into the notes that we send out. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Nikki Lyles, who's going to play MC for the rest of the day while I handle all the back-end screen sharing for presenters. So Nikki, do you want to start and introduce our first group of speakers?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. As Mike mentioned, my name is Nikki Lyles. I am the Director of Partner Programs at Youth Service America, and it is my pleasure to serve as your MC of sorts on today, at least as we move forward through the presentations. So we do have the 15 speakers that are representing 14 days of service today. And just so people kind of know how we are going to be proceeding, so we have 3 separate groups of folks who will be talking. There's about 5 days of service in each of those groups. One thing that I wanted to make sure our representatives know: first, don't fret in terms of knowing what order you're in. That's why I'm here today, to make sure that we can move things along as smoothly as we possibly can. Unfortunately, Jill Bramble from the National 4-H Council was not able to join us this afternoon. So when it's time, we'll move directly from JServe to SkillsUSA. And so with that, we will go ahead and get started with our first speaker. I'm going to hand the mic over to Kristin from Points of Light.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Nikki, and good afternoon, everyone, or I think it's afternoon for most everyone. It's nice to be with you here today. I am very excited to talk about both National Volunteer Week and Global Volunteer Month. So Global Volunteer Month is something that Points of Light started about 6 years ago. It happens all throughout the month of April, and just like National Volunteer Week, we see it as a time to really celebrate and thank everyone who is already volunteering and shine a spotlight on the needs in communities to engage individuals and youth in volunteering. So we know, like many of you, that volunteering brings deep value, not only to individuals through all the well-being benefits and connection, especially in the loneliness epidemic that we are all seeing so much in today's environment, but it helps, with community issues and needs around the world. So there's a couple of different actions that we want to highlight. If you scroll down just a little bit on this page, there's 3 main ways that we are asking folks to get involved right now. So the first is take the pledge. That is for individuals and youth. They can take the pledge to volunteer, and we have graphics that come along with that. They can share, on social media. And then what will happen is they'll get signed up to receive volunteer opportunities. So they can kind of search by interest, by area, and by zip code from our volunteer database, Engage. The second option, and I think there's going to be a screen share of assets at the end of this, so we'll do that later. The second option is really focused on nonprofits becoming a Global Volunteer Month champion. So Global Volunteer Month champions really are committing to join the movement around volunteering all month long, including National Volunteer Week, committing to amplify the importance of volunteering throughout April. All champions will be listed on our website and recognized on Points of Light's channels. It's a super simple sign-up form. What I like about it is that once you sign up, we will kind of hand deliver assets and information on a regular basis for maybe the coming week during April. So it's right there in your inbox. I think we have close to 300 champions already signed up this year, and we would love if you considered that. The third bucket is probably the largest, and it's really, kind of spreading the word around volunteering and the needs of, in your community, in your organization, in schools, things like that. So what is shown on the screen right now is our social press kit. And so there's a couple different, even though Youth Service Month kicks off April 11th, we have kind of 3 buckets of opportunities throughout the month of April. So the first, and this can happen April 1st, it can happen April 11th, is really to thank a volunteer. So what's great about this site is that if you're not familiar with it, it is one-click share resources, to your stakeholders, to your channels. We have dozens of assets on here. So the first kind of call to action is to thank a special volunteer in your life. The second call to action is a campaign that we're calling Why I Volunteer, and we're aiming to have that kind of take place mid-month. And we're really trying to highlight, just all of the individual reasons that youth, that everyone of all ages steps forward and volunteers. We know there's different motivators for that. And there's assets that coincide with, kind of sharing your story. And if we can elevate voices all around the country and all around the world about why people are stepping forward to volunteer, we believe that that will have a ripple effect and have more people volunteering. The third bucket is really the call to action, and that overlaps with National Volunteer Week dates as well, kind of from April 17th through the end of the month. And that's volunteer today. So There's assets below that talk about just the urgency. We heard from some of our test markets when we put these materials out in the past that puppies and rainbows are nice, but we really need the call to action and the urgency around volunteering. Through some of our own data, we've discovered that nearly 50% of open volunteer positions go unfilled. So we're shining a spotlight on that. We're kind of calling attention to this opportunity needs you, because we know if those spots aren't filled, that's when community needs go unmet. So those are the three campaigns. And if you, oh, you're at the top. So if you go back to that site that you were just on, I just want to call out, there are 2 tabs, one for Global Volunteer Month, which is all April long. The second one is National Volunteer Week. And then if you go over to the 4th tab under resources, there are some additional things like a PSA that talks about the importance and the value of volunteering, a press release template, state proclamations to proclaim National Volunteer Week with your state governors, which we are also working on as well. But those are the resources that we have. We get a lot of positive feedback on this tool, and we hope that you find it very valuable as well. And we hope that we can help support you and just inspire, thousands, if not millions of youth to find a cause that's passionate for them and volunteer this April and create a lifelong interest in volunteering. So that's all about Global Volunteer Month and National Volunteer Week. And I will turn it back to you, Nikki.
Thank you. Thank you. I just want to take a second. I know there are no questions in the chat yet, but if anybody did have a question, please go ahead and drop that in before we move on here. And still seeing no questions, we will move on to our next speaker, Hannah from Good Deeds Day.
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. Good to see some familiar faces here, and really excited to be here with you guys and to hear what else is going on in April. So Good Deeds Day is a global movement around doing good. We're in our 17th year, and we are active in 115 countries all over the globe and mobilizing around 4 million people on the day itself. But we're really a movement around doing good throughout the entire year. We utilize one day in April as a peak pinnacle day to get more people involved and to get people who aren't usually volunteers or people who consider themselves volunteers to get them to take part and to see what it's like. We really believe doing good is something everybody can do. And so we don't have a specific theme or way that we ask people to take part. We have a huge hub of resources and ideas on our website, which I think will be shared after, around all kinds of ways that people can take part, from organizing an activity to sharing thank yous to your active volunteers, to getting family and friends together and doing a give and take market, basically from big events, and we do big events around the world, to amazing small projects. There's no template to take part, so it's really up to you how you'd like to do that. Similar to what Kristin was sharing before on the loneliness epidemic and wanting to get people involved, we also really see that and really echo that April is an amazing time. There's so much going on. It can sometimes feel overwhelming with the calendar of what's happening, but most important is to get active and to get involved and to piggyback on some of the things that are already going on, which can be as easy as sharing, tagging, interacting on social, and asking people to join. So we also have a huge hub of Canva templates and other downloadable graphics that can be used, can be co-branded. We have a small team also that's here to help if people want to brainstorm. And then we also are offering t-shirts for volunteers that are co-branded with organization's logo for those that are registering until, I think next week is the deadline for shirts to arrive in time. So definitely register if you're planning to do something so you can have the Doing Good uniform. And also we're really tapping into this year around our slogan for this year is it feels good to do good, because we know that, doing good is also something that releases endorphins and makes you feel good, the helper's high. And so we know there's a benefit, and we're kind of plugging into that doing good is really great for everybody. So this I won't get into too much, but we've got 2 slides here on a timeline and mini action plan on how it can look, starting from 4 months in advance to a day in advance. But basically like what to look forward to. I think this can kind of apply to other days of service and other things going on. This we did in collaboration with Points of Light with Global Volunteer Month. So we've got some shared hashtags here. And basically just encouraging people to take part and to choose a way to do good, big or small, and let's amplify the voices. Let's amplify doing good in April. And I'll pass it back to you, Nikki.
Thank you so much, Hannah. Any questions for folks? I know we have a number of partners that participate in Good Deeds Day, so I appreciate you being on to share some more. All right, seeing no questions, we will move on to Jess to talk about the JServe International Day of Jewish Youth Service.
Excellent. Thank you for having me. Really excited to share a little bit about JServe with everybody. So BBYO is the leading Jewish youth movement in the world, and we have one dedicated day. We usually go with Good Deeds Day, so that was great, on April 6th. And this year our theme is Be the Change. So you can go ahead to the next slide. Thank you. Amazing. So since 2005, BBYO has been engaging in JServe, and we focus on 3 Jewish values: the values of Gimilut Hasadim, acts of loving kindness, Tzedakah, just and charitable giving, and Tikkun Olam, which is the responsibility to repair the world. I encourage you to visit our website. I have it listed here in bold for you, in all caps, so you can go ahead and look it up. Also, just type in azabbg.bbyo.org, and at the top you can click on initiatives, and it will take you to JServe. I mentioned JServe is April 6th, but we do allow our teens and communities globally to program from the end of March to the beginning of May, especially considering that Passover is about 2 weeks in mid-April. JServe, so for JServe at BBYO, we actually offer our communities grants to help elevate their service and give back. We give about $10 per teen, and our teens can be 8th to 12th grade. We give JServe grants both internally to BBYO communities and also externally to other Jewish-facing organizations. We have 3 goals around JServe. Number 1, at BBYO, we focus on teen leadership. So our teens actually plan the day of service. It can be with any service partner. That's number 2. We want them to focus and work with a service partner in their community, whether it's Jewish or non-Jewish, that does not matter. They actually work on a program planning form, and they script the whole program, and then they lead it. Of course, we have staff there with them, but they're at the front of the room. And then the third component is we want teens to walk away with service learning. So let's say they want to go to an animal shelter and volunteer. We also want them to sit and talk about why they're there, what impact they're making, and then furthermore, what they're going to do after that specific service project to continue the service. So I have here, just this past year, I have some examples for you of what kind of service we do as an organization. In Uganda, our teens rebuilt synagogues in their communities throughout the country. In Connecticut, our BBYO teens partnered with other Jewish serving youth organizations, or just Jewish serving organizations in general, PJ Library and Jewish Community Center. They taught people about the meaning and the beauty behind Shabbat. We also had teens work with Jewish Family Services to host conversations about healthy relationships as teens go off to college. In Gadara, Israel, teens made a commemoration garden for those killed on 10/7. We also had about 22 European countries get together last spring for a convention, and at the convention, the teens packed backpacks for the Bulgarian Children's Youth Charity. Last year, we had over 4,000 teens participate in some form of service in 115 different communities around the world. Okay, so if you're interested in getting involved, here are your next steps. So number one, if you are a Jewish serving organization and you'd like to apply for a grant from BBYO, I encourage you to visit our website. Again, I will put that actually in the chat, but it's azabbg.bbyo.org. If you're an organization, a non-Jewish organization wanting to partner with one of our communities worldwide, I encourage you to email us at jewish@bbyo.org. I will then connect you with somebody on the ground in whichever community you'd like to work with. All of our resources can be found on that website. The two I'm going to highlight are our Guide to Planning JServe, which is a play-by-play, step-by-step procedure of how we encourage teens to plan service projects. And then I'm also including our Repair the World toolkit. We are a partner of Repair the World, which is another Jewish serving organization, but it serves all age groups, and it helps enhance our service. Any questions, ideas, thoughts can be sent to jewish@bbyo.org. Thank you for having me. Back to you, Nikki.
Thank you so much, Jess. We have Sylvia and Madison from SkillsUSA up next.
All right, thank you so much. My name is Madison Kraemer, and I'm here with my colleague Sylvia Phillips. We are program managers at SkillsUSA, and we're going to go ahead and get started with our next slide, giving you just a little background into our organization. So we've been around since 1965, and SkillsUSA is the #1 workforce development organization for students. And our mission is to empower students to become both skilled professionals, career-ready leaders, and responsible community members. And while we are pretty well known for competitions and conferences such as the National Leadership and Skills Conference held in the summer, the true heartbeat of the organization is the students and the teachers who truly inspire them, along with business leaders in the community who support our local groups. Our membership exists all throughout different kinds of education, so middle school, high school, and college students nationwide, and we actually have just over 400,000 students involved in the organization this year. Finally, SkillsUSA operates on a foundation called the Framework. So this is a common language that students are able to use to help articulate to whether it be employers, administrators, parents, or even friends, maybe what they've gained from being a part of the organization.
So as Madison mentioned, the bulk of the work of our organization does take place at the local level. It's SkillsUSA chapters, whether they be middle school, high school, or college, post-secondary level. And all of those local chapters are driven by what we call a program of work. And while there are 6 components to that program of work, today we wanted to emphasize the work that's taking place in community engagement, because it's really through this part of the program of work that our students are looking outside of their school to assess the needs of their community, and then they're using the skills that they've learned in the classroom to go forward and do great work and to build long-lasting relationships in their community. And of course, we all know this is essentially the definition of service learning, but within our organization, it also ensures that our students are strengthening their framework skills.
So we're here to talk specifically about National Week of Service, which is our event that we hold May 4th through 10th this year. This event also happens to coincide with our Founders Day, so the day that SkillsUSA was founded. During this week, chapters in divisions all across middle school, high school, and college do have the opportunity to conduct a unique service project during the week that might align with their program of work, as Sylvia alluded to. So some really neat examples we've seen in the past have been culinary students who have hosted a teacher appreciation breakfast. We've had some automotive students do oil change for some military families. Some construction students do accessibility ramp building in certain elementary schools in their community. And then we've even had some cosmetology students provide services for residents at a senior center in their community. So a lot of different, really fun, really unique ideas, but those are just a few out of the many that we've seen. And participation in this National Week of Service is really designed to just cultivate a heart for service within our members, and it allows our students to expand on their personal, their workplace skills, and their technical skills for the benefit of others. Additionally, SkillsUSA offers the opportunity to promote awareness for their service projects, and we value service learning through recognition in something that we call the Chapter Excellence Program. And our top recipients, which are our gold winners, are celebrated at the National Leadership and Skills Conference that we mentioned at the beginning.
So as we mentioned already, service is really at the very heart of our organization's culture, as it is part of our program of work for every local chapter nationwide. And if you want to be a part of the SkillsUSA National Week of Service, which is May the 4th through 10th, our last slide has our contact information. We would recommend that you would reach out to the SkillsUSA advisor at your local chapter, which could be in a middle school, high school, or even at the college post-secondary level. If you would reach out to them, that's the best first start to cultivate that partnership in your own community, as well as potentially giving the opportunity to elevate your local chapter service opportunity. But we've listed our contact information, as well as you could reach out to our customer care team. And there's a QR code there on the screen, which would lead you directly to our website to learn more about the great work that we're doing in service learning and community engagement. Thanks so much for letting us be here today.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. Thank you, Madison. So I mentioned at the beginning here that we had 3 different groups. So we are going to be moving on to our more environment-focused days of service. So to lead us off here, I'm going to hand the mic on to Bryce with Earth Day.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you today. It's a really impressive group of organizations brought together. So thank you for inviting me to this and allowing us to speak. So yeah, my name is Bryce Coon, and I'm with earthday.org. Formerly Earth Day Network. So it was created after the first Earth Day in 1970 by one of the co-founders. And each year we have a theme, and then as the director of education, we have tools that we provide to promote action within schools. And just a quick background of, why we do this, or why we focus the learning around climate education, is because, those of you who are either in schools or engage with young people, I'm a former educator myself, we know that young people have a lot of climate anxiety, and that it's important to have these conversations. We also believe that we can develop what we call green muscle memory, sustainable behaviors through action projects like what everyone has been talking about today, and just other slight behavior changes. And then also to open up people to possible careers in the green economy. So maybe they do some of these volunteering things or opportunities and find that they have a passion for that. So as for education, we've created something called the Earth Day Showcase. And the idea for the Earth Day Showcase is to have students focus an advocacy project around one of 4 themes. So plastics, fast fashion, renewable energy, or food prints. And so we've developed materials for teachers to give to their students by different grade level, so that they can explore these topics and do some project-based learning around that, and then celebrate this within their classroom and within their school. And we have this sign up here, and what we're really hoping is that schools around the world, so many schools around the world have already signed up for this. And so what's really great is there's a community around it, and I'm really looking forward to teachers starting their projects in April. Obviously Earth Day is April 22nd, but the Earth Day Showcase, or the project, would start before that, and anytime during Earth Month would be great. And then teachers are going to be sending in their images of these projects, some of the final projects, and we're really looking forward to sharing those. More broadly, as an organization, we have something called Earth Action Day, which, sorry, I don't have a slide for, but Earth Action Day is, so for anyone outside of a school to find ways to give back to their community, to advocate for the environment, for climate. And one of the things that Earth Day has that may be beneficial to some of the groups here is a map of opportunities to share. And again, sorry, I don't have the link here, but you can find it at earthday.org. And so on that map, you can register your event, and then hopefully if people are looking for something to do around Earth Day, they can find your event and join. And then also, we can all celebrate that event together. So yeah, that's our stuff around General Earth Day. And for climate education, it's really nice to be with you all today. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you so much, Bryce. And I think we have a couple minutes. I have a question of my own for you. I know you went off and say,
yeah, sure.
So have you
Yeah.
guys done any recent partnerships with the Plastic Ocean Project out of curiosity?
That is a great question. And here's a terrible answer. As the director of education, so yeah, I'm very, I don't know exactly who we partners with, but our theme for last year was around, was plastics. So if you remember the theme for Earth Day 2024. And so I know we have a lot of work, and then we still have a plastics campaign that my colleague Amina runs, and she's amazing. And so if you go to our End Plastics campaign, which is just a few more clicks down, you could find out more about that. But then the slide that Nikki went to originally, that was the Earth Action Day slide. And then with these initiatives tab is where you could go to climate education if that is your interest, or plastics, or anything around it. Yeah.
Thank
And this
you.
is where our materials would be.
That was not a terrible answer.
Well, I didn't know where it was going to go. You know how it is. You start talking and, we landed. All right.
I understand. Thank you so much,
Thank
Bryce.
you again.
All right. And we are amazingly on time. Let's see here. All right. So our next speaker will be Logan from Arbor Day.
Thank you, Nikki. Hi, everyone. My name is Logan Donahoo. I'm a senior program manager here at the Arbor Day Foundation. And if you head to the next slide, I'll share who we are and what we do here, and 4 ways that young people can get involved during Youth Service Month. So we are a global nonprofit focused on inspiring people to plant, nurture, and celebrate trees. We plant trees all over the globe, and trees are at the heart of everything we do. Next slide. My team specifically focuses on trees in communities, and I could go on and on about the benefits of trees in communities, but they keep our streets cooler, they keep our playgrounds cool and safe, they keep parks, cool places where people can get outside and exercise. The benefits are great. Next slide. And we believe that trees bring people together. The Arbor Day Foundation has been around since 1972. We were founded on the 100th anniversary of the Arbor Day holiday, which began in 1872. And since then, we have just seen trees be this unifying force. Even in very divided times like those we are living through right now, everyone agrees on trees. Next slide. And everyone can be a tree planter. You don't have to be a forester or an urban forester to learn how to plant a tree and how to care for a tree. Next slide. So I want to cover 4 ways to participate. And there's kind of varying levels of participation here, but hopefully this sparks some ideas. First one is celebrating Arbor Day. Arbor Day is celebrated, National Arbor Day, I should say, is celebrated on the first Friday of April. So this year, that's April 25th. And communities all over the country celebrate Arbor Day. In fact, the Tree City USA network includes about 3,600 communities. And if you've ever driven past one of these signs, like you see in the photo here, you've been in a Tree City USA community, and chances are your community could be one. And one of the standards of that program and for earning that designation annually is celebrating Arbor Day. So if you live in a Tree City USA, something is going on in your community. And it's just a great opportunity, much like Earth Day, for public education and rallying people around an environmental cause. So at arborday.org/celebrate, we have a map, like some other organizations have shared, of local Arbor Day celebrations. And we also have resources like classroom resources, social media resources, ideas for planning an Arbor Day celebration to get inspired. Next, one of our programs at the Arbor Day Foundation is the Alliance for Community Trees, which is a network of over 200 community-based organizations that focus on tree planting. So chances are, if you live in a fairly large city or metro area, there's probably a tree planting nonprofit in your community. And these organizations are often looking for volunteers and can provide really great opportunities for your local youth. And so at arborday.org/ACT, we have a directory of all of these organizations. And most of them, if you go straight to their website, you'll be able to find out where you can learn more about volunteer opportunities. Next, if you want to take it a step further, we have a recognition program for K through 12 school campuses called Tree Campus K through 12. There's also a higher education version of the program, and both of these are built on the model of Tree City USA. So it's this annual commitment to a set of standards. For the K-12 program, they have to do with educating students about trees, having a leadership element of that, having hands-on experiences with trees, and celebrating Arbor Day. So all of those components are kind of baked into the annual experience, and this is absolutely something that young people can lead entirely on their own within their school. And then finally, we have something going on right now that we're calling the Planet Pledge. This is basically a commitment to take on an eco-friendly habit. So it could be using a reusable water bottle or shopping bag, or committing to purchasing local fruits and vegetables, or of course planting a tree. But it's as simple as sharing your commitment, and the Arbor Day Foundation will plant a tree in a forest of need on your behalf. So if a group of people got together and committed to doing this, they could plant a forest together. So that one, of course, is quite simple, but great place to get started. Next slide, just a recap of those things. I'll put these URLs in the chat. And that's what I got. My email is on the last slide. Feel free to reach out. Thanks, everyone.
Great information. Thank you so much, Logan. All right. Next up, we have Hayley from the Environmental Action Civics Week.
Hi. Hi, everyone. I'm Hayley Valley from Earth Force. Thanks so much for inviting us to this webinar. We're huge fans of YSA and all the work you do, and it's so great to be in community with all of you and your wonderful organizations. Today, I just want to talk a little bit about Earth Force and the upcoming EAC week that you see on the screen right here. But first, I just wanted to share a little story about the power of young people using their lived experiences to ask for changes in their community, which is what we're all about. So this last year, young people in Gunnison, Colorado, were concerned with how vulnerable their community was to wildfires. And when they researched more and engaged in an Earth Force process, they realized that their neighbors didn't know much about preparing for wildfires or evacuations, if that were to happen. And the resources that were available were not translated into Cora or Spanish, languages that were commonly spoken in the area and even by some of the students' families. So these students took action and teamed up with community agencies like the Gunnison Fire Protection District to translate some of this key emergency information that people need to have, and they shared it at a student-led wildfire expo in the community. And so I love this story because it's just one example of how young people that you work with, or any young people listening, can become part of the environmental decision-making process in their community now. And research shows when they do this at a young age, they're more likely to be civically involved in the future, which is what we all want, right? So Earth Force helps educators and organizations like yours to infuse more youth-led learning into their programming to do just that. So this year, we're celebrating our third annual EAC week, April 28th through May 2nd. And this is kind of a virtual celebration of young people becoming civically active in their local environment and celebrating the adults who are supporting them along the way, because it's really about youth-adult partnerships. So we have, thank you for scrolling. You're doing awesome, Nikki. Thank you. We have a variety of events that week we'd love for you to attend. It's all virtual. Everything will be recorded if you're unable to make the events, which is great because I know we're all busy. Starting off with a civic research cafe on the 28th. We're inviting a few leading researchers in the civic environmental field to share about breakthrough research that applies to how to get young people more civically involved in their environment. And then we have an idea-a-thon on April 30th. This is a new event for us this year. We're inviting people to generate new ideas about how to implement this type of work. So anyone's invited to that to share ideas and collaborate together. There'll be a showcase of environmental organizations doing this work later that afternoon. And a celebration of young people asking for changes in the Chesapeake Bay on May 1st, which is part of the Caring for Our Watershed celebration. So you can find all the details here on that website, earthforce.org/EAC week, or feel free to reach out to us directly at hello@earthforce.org. Like I mentioned, it's all virtual. We'd love to have you attend and then get more involved with EarthForce if you're interested. We opened up a new community of practice this year for adults who want to learn more about youth-led learning and implement it in their organizations or schools. So we'd love to have you a part of that. And I think that's it, Nikki.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hayley. And I don't want to steal Mike's shine. So yeah, Mike is the one piloting in the background and scrolling the pages and bringing up.
Thank you.
So I want to make sure I give him a shout out on that. Thank you again. Okay, so we are going to move on to Kids to Parks Day with Ivan.
Excellent. Thank you. Hi, everybody. Good to see you and good afternoon. My name is Ivan Levin. I'm the Senior Director of Strategic Partnerships with the National Park Trust. The National Park Trust is a national nonprofit organization, and we've been around for 43 years. We started as a traditional land trust, which we still operate today. We acquire land that's in or next to national park sites exclusively, and we acquire those lands and then give them to the National Park Service so that they are protected forever. Back in 2008 is when our youth and family programs portfolio really hit the ground running. And to this day, we operate in a number of different ways, engaging youth and families and everybody in communities and everybody in between in the outdoors. On our youth and family program side, we engage in public parks, lands, and waters, not just national parks. We do that through our Buddy Bison School program, where we serve over 100 schools across the country, providing field trips and supplemental materials to classrooms. We also work with countless other classrooms across the country. We work with military communities, we work with colleges and universities, and we also do grant management as well. What you see on your screen is that every third Saturday of May, we celebrate Kids to Parks Day. So Kids to Parks Day is an annual day of outdoor play. And this year is the 15th anniversary of Kids to Parks Day. So it's really a day to invite kids and families and all people to get outside and discover new or already places you visited, local outdoor places. So from our website, folks can learn all about Kids to Parks Day. If you're a member of the public, you can also find an event. Yep, so if you just click on that link, great job. A map will come up, which will show you events, obviously, locally as well as across the country. If you are with an organization, a city, town, or anyone that might be interested in hosting an event, we ask that you come to our website, you register the event on our website. You can also proclaim the day. If you're a city, town, or any other kind of entity that's interested in proclaiming the day, as I heard some others mention on this call. We have a great toolkit on the website. And we also have information about our school grants program, which is tied to the day as well. So, and in addition to all of that, we also have a mobile app called Park Passport, all one word, which allows you to track all of your outdoor visits, all your activities. It has thousands of virtual resources. You can get directions straight from your phone, accessibility information, and all sorts of other things, your fishing license, all from the mobile app. So Kids to Parks Day, this is the 15th anniversary, and it's May 17th, 2025. Thank you.
Very exciting. Thank you so much, Ivan. All right, we are surprisingly ahead of time. So I did want to note that as we move on here, we are going to move on to M from Kids Garden Month.
Hey everyone, thanks for having me. I am M. Shipman. I'm Executive Director of KidsGardening, kidsgardening.org, and we are a 42-year-old nonprofit based in Vermont, but working all across the country to ensure that all kids have access to garden-based learning opportunities. And so the way that we do that is through primarily our three programs. So we offer grants to youth to support gardens in communities and at schools across the country. We also develop high quality original educational resources for educators and caregivers to use to teach through the garden. And then third and finally, we have a program called the Kids Garden Community, and that is an online community for anyone who gardens with youth to join, to share with one another what's working, what's not, share resources, ask each other questions. And so that's a space where people can find community, find peers and inspiration. Every April, we celebrate Kids Garden Month. April is National Gardening Month, and since early 1980s, we've been celebrating kids in the garden during April with Kids Garden Month. Every year, it is a contest or a challenge for kids to get involved and to celebrate gardening and all of the positive benefits of gardening on kids. And so this year, we're celebrating Kids Garden Month with a variety of challenges that kids can participate in. So we will have challenges for the little kids, as simple as growing a seed in a cup and sending us a photo, or challenges for older kids to design a t-shirt or draw a garden comic or create a song about a garden. We have challenges about pollinators. So lots of very accessible, easy and fun challenges that kids can take part in both with their families or with their educators at school. So they can enter as a class, as a group of students or a group of kids from a club after school or a library, you name it, or you can enter as an individual child or an individual student. So we try to make this as accessible as possible. It goes live on April 1st every year. It lasts throughout the course of the month. And then we are offering prizes to all of the winners of Kids Garden Month for 2025. And so you'll be able to participate right on our website at kidsgardening.org/kidsgardenmonth and also through social media. So we're on Instagram and Facebook at Kids Gardening. That's pretty much it for me. We just want to make sure that everyone has an opportunity to get outside and play and get their hands in the dirt this spring. So if you have an opportunity to participate in Kids Garden Month, that's great. And if Kids Garden Month doesn't work for you, there are hundreds, probably nearly 1,000 free activities and lesson plans that you can access on this website that we're looking at here to download and use. So we invite everyone to get gardening this spring.
Thank you so much. And I know I'm not a kid, but I've definitely been getting my hands dirty and get some seedlings started. So I'm definitely looking forward to the growing season ahead. All right, so we are going to be shifting to our next section. Thank you so much, Mike. So the following days of service are more about issue or are issue specific. So definitely looking forward to hearing what our next group of speakers have to share with us. We will be starting with the Citizen Science Month. And our presenter is Emma. So I'll be handing the mic over to Emma.
Thank you. And I just reattached my headphones, so I'm hoping you can hear me. Okay, that's great. Awesome. Okay. Thank you so much for inviting SciStarter to speak. We're really excited to be able to share all these wonderful things with you all. If you hit, yeah, you can hit that. Perfect. That works. So as mentioned before, my name is Emma Giles. I'm the manager of public outreach and programs and director of operations at SciStarter. And so what we do at SciStarter is all citizen science. So on the next slide, I can get you all familiar with what the definition of citizen science is. And so as a website that aggregates projects of citizen science, what we're accomplishing together is a global movement enabling folks from all walks of life to contribute to real scientific research. So citizen science is like a global citizen from wherever you are, whatever age you are, you can contribute to actual research and accelerate research from wherever you are in the world. And so we often have scientists who are not able to be everywhere at once. They need data from all kinds of places to contribute to their research project, or they have too much data that they need help evaluating. And so they ask for the public's help, which is amazing because it allows folks to be able to participate in real research that might matter a lot to them. So take health and medicine, for example, there's accelerating Alzheimer's research. There's also talking about space. If you are really interested in space, you can help us find faraway galaxies with projects like Dark Energy Explorers. If it's a science topic, you name it, there will be a project for you. through citizen science. And so on the next slide, we get a little bit more into the idea of like what this actually helps students learn. So if you are working to help develop this as a practice for students, it essentially allows them to study the world the way a scientist would. You get to introduce the scientific method to them in a very real way, where they get to take a part of the scientific method and actually be a part of it. And so they learn new things the way a scientist would. They'll learn about the real important questions that are being asked today. And so instead of being able to look at a textbook and know the answers, they can see there are so many more questions that we need to answer as humans. And we are so curious and continue to be so. There's still questions being asked. And you also get to know that you can participate in science. Anyone can do it, and it can be really fun. So anything from taking swabs of some, like the bottom side of a shoe, to looking at butterflies and counting how many butterflies visit your milkweed plants, etc. There's all kinds of projects. If you scroll to the next slide, what these students are being a part of is essentially these thousands of projects. As SciStarter is an aggregator, a database of these projects. There are over 1,000 to choose from, and all of them ask you to do different types of tasks. So you can observe in nature, like I mentioned, looking at butterflies. You can also learn to analyze data, so maybe graphs from telescopes like the James Webb Telescope. The way in which we have graphs of data are hard to picture as someone looking at like just NASA putting a telescope in the sky. Cool. But as a citizen scientist, you actually get to see the raw data and analyze that data like a scientist based on learning how to do standardized protocols based on what the scientist needs from us. And so you learn very niche practices that are really, really unique to that experience. And then as a double benefit of this is, even though it's helping accelerate science research, you can also use it to take action in your own community. And so an example of this is actually, we work with the Girl Scouts of America, where they have a couple of programs where they can earn patches or a badge through our Think Like a Citizen Scientist journey. And this allows them to look at these citizen science projects, participate in them, and actually essentially bring that data back to their own community to identify issues that they might be able to help prevent or help recuperate different parts of their environment and their community based on the data they've gained from being a part of the project. So an example of this is our project on the screen right now. Stream Selfie is literally a project where you're taking pictures of streams. And so as a part of taking pictures of streams, you get to help us analyze where all the streams are, so where the water's coming from, and help us identify issues with pollution. And so these stream selfies help us identify if this is a healthy stream or not, and it can move on to move forward to be about water quality and analyzing from nitrates to salt watch projects, and so much more. On the next slide, I have a few examples. If you're looking for evaluating projects based on grade level, we have a really excellent resource that allows you to identify projects by grade level. And that includes projects like Seek by iNaturalist. iNaturalist is a very popular app if any of you have used it before. It's all about identifying wildlife in your community or wherever you are, and submitting it to a giant global database that helps find research grade population data and biodiversity data for an even larger database that's used in active research. And so as a young person, for kindergartners through 5th grade, they're still learning how to do the observation process. And so Seek allows them to walk outside, take pictures of their environment and different organisms in the environment. And they're practicing those observation skills and those identification skills, because Seek will also use machine learning to help you identify what type of plant it is, what type of animal it is, and so on. And so they learn how to use it before they move on to participating in the real research. And so when they're young, there's ways to participate where it's still a soft form. Now, when they get to middle school, on the next slide, perfect, we can start working with them to do projects that actually send back to the scientists. And so NASA has a program called the Globe Observer program, and it has 4 different protocols, one of which is the mosquito habitat mapper. And essentially what this is all about is you're taking water samples from standing water and identifying if there are mosquito larvae in there. And so students are able to map where these mosquito habitats are developing in their communities and actually destroy them, which is always the most fun part for students. You get to destroy them, get rid of the standing water, and it helps us identify where there are instances of mosquito growth and population growth because we can help predict epidemics of mosquito-borne illnesses. So a really massive goal, which is just done in the palm of your hand through an app, the Globe Observer app, and using lab materials to make it a little bit more interactive for these students. When they get to high school, we can look at more challenging projects that encourage them to learn new skills, such as in Globe at Night, where you are learning how to identify constellations in the night sky. And while you identify those constellations, you're asked to see how many stars you can see in the night sky, so we can determine how much light pollution is impacting the area you are in. And so this actually amounts to an additional project where you can actually have light quality meters, an actual device that measures it numerically. And so you can do a multitude of projects within light pollution to help identify what's happening in the area and using tools and identifying constellations. Additionally, for high school, one of my favorite programs on the next slide is about another NASA project through NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, where this is one of the first projects I ever tried, where you're looking at really interesting scans of what we can see from very far out. We're looking at Mars's atmosphere and these graphs that show us where clouds are in the Martian atmosphere. And so we're able to actually identify and locate clouds for the scientists so that we can understand the weather on Mars a little bit better. So you get to be the first version of the meteorologist on a different planet. And I love that project. It's just so much fun to be able to say, I just discovered clouds on Mars, and great for high school especially. So that's all to say, SciStarter as an aggregator of projects has a project finder, and as a fifth grade teacher in my past, I taught fifth grade for a couple of years where I taught math and science. Having access to lesson plans and having access to classroom materials is definitely critical. And so we're trying to make that as easy as possible for you all. We have a project finder where you can actually filter for classroom materials. You can filter by grade or age level and grade level. And you can also find testimonials, videos, other demonstrative resources on a project by grade level page called SciStarter.org/education. And so this is our way to kind of connect the dots. You don't have to work too hard to find the projects that make sense for you in your classroom and for any age. And on that next slide, it's really convenient to be a part of this now because as everyone's talking about like different months of activity, Citizen Science absolutely has a month of activity, and April 1st through 30th is our time to shine, where we are aiming for 1 million acts of science. So every contribution to science, every analysis of light pollution, every cloud that is identified counts as an act of science. And we're aiming for 1 million acts of science by the end of April. And this is the global project. And so students can be a part of, and anyone can be a part of, especially all adults are of course included in this, where we can be part of a global experience to accelerate research and really focus on it for a whole month. And one of the great benefits of this is we have a set of badges that will help us identify how great you are and celebrate these skills that you're earning. And so that on the far right is a example of one of our badges from last year, showing off how awesome everyone is for being a part of Citizen Science Month. And to wrap it all up, which I think I might be over time, so I apologize, wrap it all up there on that next slide. If you are ready to see how to get started, this is the go-to list of like what to do to start for April. There's a citizensciencemonth.org website, which is a SciStarter website internally. And you can pick any project or event that seems interesting. You can follow instructions to log that data and practice. And then when you hit April, you can start reporting your acts of science and receive a digital badge. And you can always contact us for help. I have a set of links I will drop in the chat as well to get you started. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Emma. A lot of great information. And I need to go back and look up the Seek by iNaturalist, because I use the iNaturalist app, but I did not know there was a different version out there that we could get and especially use for kids or with kids. All right. Moving along here, we have the month of the military child. Kyra, you're up.
I'm up. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm Kyra Bush. I'm VP of Education Services with the Military Child Education Coalition. To let you know kind of where we've been, where we've come from. We've been around for about more than 25 years. We support all military-connected children by educating, advocating, and collaborating to resolve their educational challenges associated with that military lifestyle. So we help children growing up in military families by providing them, their parents, and their educators with programs and resources. We want to make sure that all military connected children are college, work, and life ready. The programs and initiatives here at MSAC support all military-connected children, including all children of service members, as well as veterans, National Guard, and reserved forces. We rely on a very strong community of partners who are committed to supporting an environment where children of military families thrive. So you may wonder why military youth face additional challenges. Well, let me highlight a few. Military children attend, on average, between 6 to 9 different schools before they graduate. This causes a lot of disruptions, unpredictability, and possible learning gaps for these kids. There's also different curricula, different standards, different course offerings, and different schedules and graduation requirements. This makes it really difficult for kids as they move from place to place. So they leave their environments and they have to start all over again. They have to make new friends, join new sports teams, all of those things that make life fun. In an MSAC 2020 survey, it revealed that one of the top concerns for kids was fitting into the new school. And that's definitely so for our military-connected children. Military youth change schools often and face much predictability. We know that there are youth caregivers in homes, approximately 2.3 million of them who live with a wounded, ill, or injured service member or veteran. As you know, service members are often absent because of deployments, temporary duty, field exercises, and trainings. One of the main ways to recognize and support military students is by observing the month of the military child. So April is the month of the military child. And during this month, this is the time when we recognize those military kids because they serve our country too as part of a military family, not just in April, but really all year long. These amazing kids face challenges and enjoy triumphs along the way. And while no military child's journey is the same, they each have a very through line that connects them by experience globally. So recognizing military children in your lives and in your schools is very important. We want to celebrate their global perspectives and nurture the connections that help build a strong community. So how do we take action? Well, first, we can celebrate Month of the Military Child. It doesn't have to be elaborate. Just an important message is something that we can do, even if it's small. We can recognize them maybe in their schools, in their school districts, through web pages, newsletters, social media. We can feature schools or organizations on school websites to promote Month of the Military Child. Creating a Share Your Story project, letting those students share their military connection stories through visual arts or creative writing. Identifying one day each week in April, maybe to highlight military families. Maybe writing thank you cards for classroom or bulletin boards. Tying purple ribbons, one for each military connected child in the school. Or inviting service members or junior ROTC students to speak. On Purple Up Day, we want to wear purple to recognize and celebrate our military kids. MSAC, our organization, will celebrate Purple Up Day on April 11th, but you can choose any other day during the month of April to purple up. Purple has been chosen to represent all service branches, active duty, reserve, National Guard, and veterans. It blends each branch's colors together, the Air Force, Navy, Space Force, and Coast Guard's blues, the Army's green, and the Marines' red. So some ideas for a Purple Up Day. You could have a t-shirt drawing contest for the Month of the Military Child and make t-shirts for the school to show their support. Everybody wearing that t-shirt on Purple Up Day. Maybe the cafeteria in the school serves fun purple snacks or purple foods. Decorating the school in flags, purple posters, just those types of simple things to help the kids know that we're supporting them. So Purple Star schools are committed to supporting military youth and their families year-round. We want to establish military-friendly standards at the schools or district level. And being a Purple Star school is a designation that is received. It helps mitigate the unique challenges that military students face as they change schools due to a parent's change in duty station. So MSAC is the national advocate for Purple Star schools. We're the nation's most complete resource for states who want to also earn that designation. We offer guidance and serve in a consultative role for that. And as of January 2025, there were 43 states that have Purple Star school designation programs or approved legislation for that. If your school is not a Purple Star school, then this is definitely the time to encourage them to join. MSEC offers a Month in the Military Child Toolkit as well. You can see the QR code on your screen. And there, it's a great downloadable toolkit to help get started in your community to celebrate Month of the Military Child. Don't hesitate to reach out to MSEC. We have military student consultants. They are highly specialized education professionals who provide personalized, really concierge support directly to students, parents, and educators who serve military-connected families, no matter where. That's all I have for you today, but please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for having me.
Some really important information there. Thank you so much, Kyra. All right, we have up next Karissa to talk about the National Week of Conversation.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Hi, everybody. My name is Karissa Raskin. I am the CEO of Listen First Project. We serve as the backbone organization for what's known as the Bridging Divides movement. So we are not entirely youth focused. We are just people focused, and we are focused on helping people come together across divides to build trust, build community, build relationships and understanding, particularly during these challenging, polarizing times. So one of the ways that we have done this through our organization, and our organization is actually not the highlight here. We are a coalition of over 500 organizations in that all work in this space and are dedicated to bringing people together across difference. So for the past 8 years, as a coalition, we have rallied together around what we call National Week of Conversation. Think of it as National Donut Day. It is not that. This is the only week that conversation is important. This is not the only week that we should try to listen with understanding and curiosity. But donuts are good every day. Conversation is good every day, but it really does help to put a spotlight on it just 1 week of the year. So that's what this is all about. And there are multiple ways that we ask partners to get involved and just everyday Americans to get involved. So as you'll see on this page, we have a couple of different options. We have what we have is Get Inspired. And so if you're looking for stories to be able to hear how what we call bridge building and addressing polarization comes up in different communities, you can explore the plethora of stories. These are op-eds published by leaders in our field, but also by just everyday Americans. And we have multiple pages of them. If you or students have a story that you would like to share, we would love to have you share it. And you don't have to click on all the links, Michael, don't worry. There's a lot of them on here. So I'll just talk them through and people can explore the site after, but thank you so much. Go ahead, yes, thank you. We also have a Skill Up page. What we're beginning to implement is a badging and micro-credential program. And so we will have training and skills. This is a new initiative, so we do not have a ton of trainings posted right now, but I can guarantee you by National Week of Conversation in late April 21 through 27, there will be many a training program. So if you're, if students you work with, or if teachers you work with, or just anyone in your organization is dealing with these challenges, as we all are, of how to engage in difficult conversations, how do I get back into a relationship with that neighbor or family member who I've become estranged from because of the things that are happening, you know, in our broader society. This would be a great place to visit. We also have just a myriad of different ways to take action. So we have all sorts of on-ramps for people to enter into the bridging space. You can choose to join a conversation. You can engage directly one-on-one with someone virtually in a conversation, whether it's through one of our partners at One Small Step at StoryCorps, or through the Unified Challenge, or through Living Room Conversations. We have so many opportunities here. And as you'll see the other buttons on this page, we have other mechanisms too. If you want to have opportunity to read balanced news and understand perspectives from both sides, and then get an analysis of the middle of the road perspective, initiative. This is actually a really good tool for civic learning and civic literacy, trying to help students kind of grapple with what's misinformation and disinformation. So I encourage you to check out these sites. And I'll highlight also in that last one, the All Sides initiative for any of our educators that may be on today. There is a program particular in there called Mismatch that I won't go deep into detail about today, but if you're interested, it's a mechanism for pairing students across schools and different communities to have online conversations with each other. So we can go back, Michael, to the NWalk page. Yeah, and if you'll scroll down, this initiative I'm incredibly excited about, because who doesn't like a film festival, guys? And this isn't a film festival in just one community. It's a decentralized but national scope film festival. So what we have done through a jury process is reviewed films that focus on this theme of coming together across our differences to see others with humanity, with dignity, and often to solve a problem, coming out with a collaborative solution. And so if you are interested in signing up as a hosting partner, if you know someone in your community would like to bring one of these films to your community, we have a mechanism on here where you could sign up to host. We will also have the list of locations where partners are hosting these film screening events in communities. So you might check back here and see if there's one happening in your community and attend. Whether you want to be the host, whether you want to attend, or whether you want to spread the word, we're open to all of it. This is really also, think of it as a mechanism for in local communities to draw in new audiences. People like shiny things, and film festivals tend to be shiny. And so if you can bring people in under this umbrella of a film festival, have them there, and each screening event will include a post-screening dialogue conversation. It enables folks to then learn also about the work that your organization in that community is doing. And you hook them there, and then they continue to come back and show up. So again, feel free to explore this page. And if a film festival isn't right for you, we will also be, go ahead, Michael, yes, you can scroll. We'll also have other events coming up too. We have particularly of interest, a Classrooms as Bridging Spaces roundtable discussion for educators. That'll be coming up on April 24th. We'll have many other events as they get posted, listed here. And I do want to give a quick shout out. I don't know if he's still on the call, but Ace Parsi from iCivics and the Civics Now Coalition is a dear friend and runs a coalition of over 300 organizations devoted to civics education. And together, as this is National Civic Learning Week, from now until National Week of Conversation, there are ample opportunities to plug in, get involved, get your students involved. And I've heard a lot about storytelling initiatives. We want to hear from your students as well. So I can post a couple of things into the chat for you, but that's pretty much what I've got for you.
I beat you to the punch and said I was a mutual fan before.
Oh, thanks, Ace.
Everybody should join your coalition.
Thanks, brother.
A film festival, I love it. So I'll definitely be checking out more information on that. Thank you so much, Karissa.
Thanks, Nikki.
Absolutely. All right. Next up, we have Sara to talk about the National Youth Violence Prevention Week.
Thanks so much. My name is Sara Tay, and I am use she, her pronouns, and I'm from Sandy Hook Promise. We're an organization that was founded by members of the victims of the tragedy at Sandy Hook Elementary on December 14th of 2012, and we work to protect children from gun violence so that no one else has to face a similar tragedy. My team at Sandy Hook Promise supports our Safe Promise clubs around the country in programs that work to end violence as well as social isolation. One of these programs, which is open to all youth, whether they're in our clubs or not, is the National Youth Violence Prevention Week, which was founded in 2001. This year, our National Youth Violence Prevention Week is April 28th through May 2nd, so it's a perfect time frame for this effort. And this is a week where youth can move their impact away from just their home campuses or organizations and have a broader reach into the community. And Michael, if you could show the slide with the wheel, we just have this visual, thank you, this visual, so that our youth can see that there are all kinds of groups that they are encouraged to partner with to prevent violence on a community level and beyond. And it's groups of all ages, all different walks of life, different types of organizations. And you'll see that these connections can be made no matter the size of your community, the makeup of your community, there are connections to be made. And that's the most important thing that we strive for during this week. And on to the next slide. So we have a kit for National Youth Violence Prevention Week. And one of those helpful pieces as part of that kit is the sample action plan, which you see here. This has ideas for every day of the week, including some things like hosting a town hall for those community partners to showcase the concerns of youth and really empower youth voice. Also honoring upstanders by recognizing them, whether in person or through social media. My favorite one is throwing a poetry slam that spotlights those works that stand up to bullying and combat the social isolation. And also organizing service projects to help bring help to those parts of the community that need it, especially in these times. Our kit has that weekly plan. That's a really summarized version, but it has a lot more, including expanded plans for every day of the week. It has posters to recognize and help thank those community partners that work with youth, sample social media posts, just a lot of really good stuff, all in this kit. And this can be found on the link that's there below, which will also, of course, be included in the links that are sent out after the presentation. And so we do work with clubs that register with us to do this week, as well as so many more, really working to empower youth to be the ones to use their voices to talk about the issues that are important to them. And this is just one of the ways we do it. And but this is our week that we welcome all youth, no matter if they're in one of our clubs or not, to join in, because we know that violence prevention doesn't stop at the edges of our clubs. We want everyone to be safe. So that's what I have. But if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Let's see here. So I get to introduce my colleague next. So Katie Reusch is going to come on to talk about GYSD.
Thanks, Nikki. Hi, everyone. First and foremost, it's been a pleasure hearing more about all of your different days, weeks, and months of service so far. So I'm kind of excited to be, although a little daunting to kind of wrap up with GYSD. But I am the director of youth programs at YSA. So I get to be the person on staff who works day in and day out with youth 24/7, which is so much fun. So to talk a little bit about GYSD, so as Mike mentioned earlier, a lot of our work really focuses on making sure that young people are the ones that are in the driver's seat. We really want to make service more accessible for everyone, regardless of your background, of your existing service experience, of your location, of your economic status. And that's really one of the things that we are trying to achieve through Global Youth Service Day, is really putting youth at the forefront and making sure that service is accessible. So this year actually marks the 37th Global Youth Service Day. And so this year we're going with the idea of the perfect date. So if any of you are familiar with Miss Congeniality, when asked what the perfect date was, Miss Rhode Island said April 25th. Not too hot, not too cold. All you really need is a light jacket. So when we talk with youth about the perfect date, we try to incorporate sparks and things that they love to do, things that they love and enjoy. So really one of the things we're trying to do is harness the power of sparks this year for GYSD, whether it is through youth implementing their sparks or for caring adults, schools, organizations, and groups to help harness and leverage the sparks of the young people that they're working with. So for any schools, organizations, or groups who are looking to take action on Global Youth Service Day, and really throughout the entirety of Youth Service Month, a few different ways that we see opportunities for engagement. So first and foremost, supporting youth-led projects and being champions of young people's sparks. We know every single young person has a spark, but not everyone can name what that spark is, and even fewer have an adult who is helping them champion and grow their sparks. There are also opportunities to recognize and celebrate the incredible work that young people are doing through service activities every single day of the year. So whether you are doing some type of public shout out, maybe you are creating a service exhibit in your school, at your organization, in your community, really showing the positive impact that youth who oftentimes are overlooked, really showcasing and highlighting their agency and their impact. And then lastly is looking at how you can build capacity to increase the quantity and quality of youth opportunities, but also to engage more young people. We know that only about 1 in 4 young people are active in their communities. So by building capacity, this is a really great stepping off point to help increase those numbers. Maybe you are doing things like hosting a youth or a partner convening. Perhaps you're doing planning or training sessions or even fundraising for projects that are taking place down the line. All are great opportunities and ways for these large groups or adults to take action directly on GYSD. On the flip side for youth, really it's all about using that spark, using that passion to make a difference on an issue or a community need that you care about. We always talk about young people taking action ASAP, both immediately because they're leaders today, they're not leaders of tomorrow, or once they turn 16 or 18 or 25 or what have you. But we want to make sure that they're being seen as change makers today and every day, but also ASAP through different types of service activities, whether they're
We might have lost Katie. Let's see. Yep, I think
there we go.
Yeah,
I guess my internet connection has run out of coffee for the day. So I'm not sure where I left off. Nikki, can you give me a quick refresher?
ASAP.
Thanks, Mike.
Awareness, service, advocacy, philanthropy.
Sure, thank you. And then so different types of actions that young people can take. And then we do have one funding opportunity that still is open for young people looking to make a difference on GYSD. And that is our program through the Hershey Foundation. And then lastly, if people are interested in signing up, Mike is sharing the page in front of you right now. There is a sign-up form to let us know exactly how you will spend the perfect date. And we'll be following up with additional information based on exactly how you anticipate taking action on GYSD, but also throughout Youth Service Month.
Thank you, Katie, and thank you for navigating all the internet and technology and all the things. It just happens that way sometimes. And that is actually our last individual presentation on the day. I did want to echo Katie's words before I hand the mic off to Mike to speak about some other days of service and folks who were not able to attend today. But just want to thank all of our representatives for sharing your time and coming on and sharing about your days and weeks and months of service. It's a lot of great information that's shared, and I definitely have some homework to do some more research and figure out other ways that I can plug in and make sure we're sharing all of this great information with partners. So thank you so much. And with that, Mike, on to you.
Thank you, Nikki. Great emceeing throughout. And again, thank you to everyone, both presenters and attendees for joining us today. Before we wrap up, just wanted to share several other partner days that also take place during Youth Service Month that we weren't able to fit in to an already jam-packed 90 minutes today. GLSEN's Day of No Silence this year around youth LGBTQ rights. The National Association of Secondary School Principals organizes National Student Leadership Week, which is primarily led by by student councils and honor societies that are run through that organization. The YMCA does an annual Healthy Kids Day around healthy eating, healthy behaviors, exercise, all of those good things, and youth leading their peers on that. And so there are events at most Ys across the country for that. There's also a global intergenerational week led by Generations United here in the US as part of the global effort around bringing all generations together through all kinds of various community activities, including service. The first week in May is National Teacher Appreciation Week. And so especially encouraging young people to organize appreciation activities to recognize and thank their teachers for all they do throughout the year. National Park Week is also in April, which includes lots of service activities in parks. As well as I think it's the first Saturday of National Park Week is usually free admission day to all national parks that normally charge admission. So encouraging people to get out there. We have both a sorority and a fraternity that do days of service in April. Spring Youth Service Day with APO. And SAE's True Gentleman Day of Service, both connected to Global Youth Service Day weekend. And then April 30th is National PrepareAthon Day to help do activities and awareness events around preparing for natural disasters, especially as we head into summer storm season and all the things that can happen throughout the summer. So I just wanted to take a moment to highlight these other days that you can all participate in as well. And all of the days are available on our website for Global Youth Service Day and Youth Service Month at ysa.org. The links to all of these sites are there. So with that, thank you, everybody. We'll stick around a couple of minutes if folks still have questions to put into the chat. Otherwise, this ends the session exactly on time, I think, a minute early maybe. And so thank you again, everyone, and look forward to seeing participation in Youth Service Month and Global Youth Service Day and all of these partner events this year.
Mike, I do want to lift up one question that was put in the chat. Melissa asked if a list of the organizations who participated would be provided.
Yes, so all of the organizations and websites to the day's materials, everything will be shared out afterwards. Yep.
Thank you all. This was absolutely outstanding. Thank you so very much. And I salute you all for all the great work you do and also all the organizations. So have a blessed day. Great job.